Nobody puts trapped on their vision board.
No, definitely not.
Right. I mean, you don't wake up at 22, look in the mirror, and say, I really can't wait to build a career that makes me feel small and exhausted and just completely invisible.
Yeah, that's never the goal.
And yet, if you look around at, highly dedicated, incredibly hardworking professionals across almost every industry, that is exactly how they feel.
It's every
We're
goal.
running on this wheel someone else built, feeling completely just stuck.
It is a pervasive reality for so many people. I mean, we're sold this narrative that if you put in the hours, follow the established playbook, hit your targets.
You do everything right.
Exactly, do everything right, and you automatically build this expansive, fulfilling professional life.
Right.
But when the reality doesn't match the promise, well, people tend to blame themselves. They just assume they just aren't hustling hard enough.
Which is so toxic.
Yeah.
And that's actually our mission today. We are going to explore why you, as a professional listening to this, might be feeling stuck in your career.
Yeah.
And more importantly, how you actually break out.
Yeah, the way out is what we're really focusing on.
Exactly. We're dedicating this deep dive to a fascinating manifesto by Chris Arnold. He's the founder of the brand Within. And this piece is titled The Cage of Three C's.
It's such a great framework.
It really is. Arnold argues that nobody actually locked you in. You climbed into a cage willingly because every manager, every mentor, every industry standard told you that this is simply how the game is played.
Yeah, Arnold maps out the architecture of this trap beautifully. He identifies 3 specific bars that make up the cage, and those are competition, comparison, and conformity.
Competition, comparison, conformity.
Right. And as we look at the underlying mechanics of your professional life today, we're going to see that the standard playbook you've been handed isn't just slightly flawed.
Right. It's not just a little off.
No, it is mathematically and psychologically rigged against you.
Okay, let's unpack this because I want to look at the root cause of that heavy, exhausted feeling so many professionals carry around.
That burnout.
Yeah, the burnout.
Yeah.
It usually stems from a fundamental mismatch in how we view our careers, right? Like, we're playing the wrong type of game entirely.
We really are.
Think about a finite game, like Monopoly or a football match.
Sure.
They have very clear structures. There are designated players, rigid rules, a clock that eventually runs out, and a definite ending. Somebody wins, you shake hands, and everyone goes home.
It's a closed system. And human beings, we love closed systems because they offer resolution.
Right. We love knowing who won.
Exactly. The problem is that careers and businesses are not closed systems. They are infinite games.
Infinite games.
Yes. There is no final whistle. There is no universal leaderboard that anyone is going to care about, a decade from now.
But business kind of feels competitive, doesn't it? Like, we all have quarterly targets. We have revenue goals. If I'm in sales, I am actively trying to win a client over the firm down the street. So how is that not a finite game?
Well, those targets are artificial.
Artificial?
Yeah, they're artificial milestones imposed by management to make an infinite reality feel manageable.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And the psychological toll of treating an infinite journey like some finite death match is devastating. Industry coaching, whether you're in real estate, software sales, middle management, it all trains you to play a finite game.
Right, like hit this quota.
Exactly. They push you to beat this quarter's numbers, to outrank a specific colleague, to win the listing this Friday.
So you get this incredibly short-term, aggressive hyper-focus.
Yeah, and Arnold uses a brilliant metaphor to describe what living like that actually feels like. He says the standard career strategy isn't really a strategy at all. It's whack-a-mole with a mortgage attached.
Oh, man. Whack-a-mole with a mortgage attached. That hits right in the gut.
It really does, doesn't it?
It's so true, though. You're just frantically swinging at whatever pops up because you think every single mole is a game-deciding point.
Right. And you swing until you burn out. Because in a finite game, the goal is to win by beating someone else.
Yeah.
But in an infinite game, the primary goal is simply to keep playing. You want to stay in the game longer than the people who are burning themselves out trying to out-hustle you.
So you can't win by crushing everyone else.
No, you cannot win an infinite game by trying to crush your competitors. You can only lose it by losing the will or, the resources to keep going.
So for you listening right now, try to apply this to your own week. You literally cannot win a game that doesn't end. You can only outlast it.
Exactly.
What you might be calling the hustle, like burning the midnight oil to beat the guy down the street, might just be the sheer exhaustion of keeping score in a match that has no actual scoreboard.
And the tragic part of buying into that hyper-competitive mindset is when you look at the people you are actually competing against. Because the individuals who truly thrive in this artificial finite game are not the people you actually want to emulate.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because if the game has soft rules and no actual finish line, we have to ask, who is actually putting the big numbers up?
Right. Who's winning?
Arnold points out that the people who absolutely love this setup are the bottom feeders, the hucksters.
The bad actors.
Exactly. He uses a real estate example here, talking about agents whose comparable market analysis, their CMA, is basically fan fiction.
Yeah, fan fiction is a great way to put it.
And just for those outside real estate, a CMA is just a document an agent uses to estimate what a house is worth based on recent sales.
Right, it's supposed to be based on data.
Exactly. An honest agent gives you a realistic price range. The huckster just invents a wildly high number to secure the client.
What's fascinating here is the structural advantage these bad actors have in this environment. It's staggering.
How so?
Well, a finite game with subjective rules and no referee is basically paradise for someone with zero conscience and a really persuasive smile.
Wow.
Because the system only scores who closed the deal. It doesn't score who told the truth to get it.
Wait, I struggle with this concept a little bit because we are always taught that integrity pays off in the long run.
Sure.
The cream rises to the top, right? Are you saying honesty is a literal business disadvantage here?
In the context of a purely finite transaction-based game, yes, honesty is a heavy burden.
The burden.
Think about it. If you are an ethical professional, you're sitting at the table being completely transparent about difficult market conditions, realistic timelines, the hard truths of a project.
Right, you're managing expectations.
Yes. You are constrained by reality. Meanwhile, the huckster 3 desks over is promising the client the absolute moon.
Because they just want the signature.
Exactly. And they can do that with complete confidence because they are entirely unencumbered by the pressure of actually having to deliver on those promises down the road.
Unencumbered. That is such a dangerous word in business.
Very dangerous.
They aren't worried about the fallout because they are already moving on to the next mole they can whack.
And that lack of integrity becomes a massive competitive advantage when the industry only measures the finish line and completely ignores the route taken to get there.
Which brings us to the most maddening part of all this, which is the trophy illusion.
Oh, yes.
The industry doesn't just tolerate these bottom feeders. It literally puts them on a pedestal.
They celebrate them.
Every single year, the huckster gets the massive plastic trophy. They're named top producer or, salesperson of the year. They get the firm handshake on the main stage, and their face plastered on the corporate brochure.
And nobody on that stage is auditing how the sausage got made.
Right.
The award purely measures volume, not virtue.
So this is the second bar of the cage, comparison. As a dedicated professional, you're sitting there comparing your honest, infinite journey to the fabricated, volume-driven metrics of someone playing a completely different, much darker game.
It's exhausting.
It is. You feel like a failure because you are measuring yourself against a mirage.
And this dynamic naturally leads to the most painful question for any professional who actually cares about their craft.
Which is?
If volume consistently wins over virtue and the system openly rewards the hucksters, why do clients keep choosing them?
Okay, yes. I feel that frustration on a visceral level.
I think we all do.
Right. Because if I spend a decade mastering my craft, if I know the local market inside and out, if I understand complex contract law, if I can calculate absorption rates, meaning, I know exactly how many months it will take for the current housing inventory to sell out.
You know the technical side cold.
Exactly. I can do all that in my sleep.
Yeah.
Shouldn't the client see that? Shouldn't my objective competence win out over the guy who just bought a nice suit and learned how to smile?
It is the most logical assumption in the world, and it is completely wrong.
Which hurts to hear.
It does. Arnold delivers a massive reality check here. Your client is flying blind.
Flying blind.
Yes. They are interviewing you and 3 other competitors, but they possess absolutely no mechanism for assessing which one of you is actually competent.
Because they don't do this for a living.
Exactly. They don't know contract law. They don't understand how absorption rates dictate pricing strategy.
They just know they need to sell their house.
Right. They literally cannot tell the difference between a masterclass in negotiation and just sheer dumb luck.
Wow.
They are sitting in the judge's chair, but they are completely unqualified to score the technical merits of the event they're watching.
I guess if you think about the last time you had to hire a mechanic for a major transmission issue, Or maybe even pick a surgeon.
Oh, that's a perfect example.
Unless you have a background in automotive repair or medicine, you weren't judging their technical competence.
Right. You had no idea.
You didn't know if the mechanic used the optimal torque wrench setting. You judged whether the waiting room was clean, how confidently they explained the problem, and whether they looked you in the eye.
Exactly. You judge them on how they made you feel. You're describing a trust audition.
A trust audition that completely reframes the entire client interaction.
It changes everything.
We are rehearsing for a competence contest like, spending hours perfecting our spreadsheets and technical pitches, and the client is holding a trust audition
And this is why the huckster keeps winning.
because they're great at auditions.
Yes. You're pouring all your energy into dominating a category the client isn't even scoring.
Oh, man.
You could genuinely be the most technically gifted professional in your entire city, and you will lose the contract to someone with objectively terrible skills, but a better vibe almost every single time.
It feels deeply unfair.
It does.
Yeah.
But it's just the natural byproduct of an audience that has to rely on emotional cues because they lack technical expertise.
So whether you are selling houses, pitching enterprise software, or, trying to convince a board to back your startup, you are stepping into a trust audition.
Every single time.
And the realization that clients are judging on vibes rather than raw competence terrifies most professionals.
Because competence is measurable. Vibes feel chaotic.
Right. It feels like you have no control.
And that terror drives behavior. When professionals realize they can't simply win on technical merit, they panic.
Naturally.
They don't know how to reliably manufacture trust, so they retreat into the safety of the herd. They look around to see what everyone else is doing.
And that panic builds the third and final bar of the cage, which is conformity.
Yes, conformity. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the corporate world offers a highly seductive, yet incredibly dangerous solution to this fear.
What's the solution?
They call it best practice.
Best practice.
It sounds rigorous, doesn't it? It sounds like due diligence. Follow the proven steps, use the proven templates, say the proven words.
But best practice is just a factory setting.
Exactly. We have to look at the mechanism behind this. Why do brokerages, agencies, and large corporations push best practices so aggressively on their people?
To make them successful.
No. It isn't to make the individual professional uniquely successful. It is to make the individual professional entirely replaceable.
Oh, wow. Okay, that shifts the perspective entirely.
Right. A corporation is playing its own infinite game. To minimize risk, they need a predictable factory.
Right.
If you have a highly unique, character-driven way of doing business, you are a wild card to them. You are a flight risk. If you leave, you take your magic with you.
But if they force you to use their script.
Yes, if the company forces you to use their standard scripts, their standard 6-point presentation, their standard marketing funnel, they own the process. You just become a cog.
And what happens to you, the individual, when you adopt all those best practices?
Yeah.
You achieve perfect camouflage.
You disappear.
Yeah. If everyone uses the exact same script learned at the same regional seminar and hands out the exact same glossy folder, the result is total indistinguishability.
You become a commodity, and we all know how commodities behave in a market.
Right. A barrel of crude oil is a barrel of crude oil.
A bushel of wheat is a bushel of wheat.
Exactly. So when you are a commodity, there is only one variable left for the consumer to judge you on.
Price.
Price. If you and the consultant next door sound exactly the same, use the same buzzwords, and promise the same standardized results, why on earth would the client pay you a premium?
They wouldn't.
No, they're just going to grind you down on your fee and pick whoever is cheapest.
And the brutal irony of conformity is that it feels safe. You are surrounded by peers doing the exact same thing.
Right, like that old corporate adage, nobody ever gets fired for buying IBM.
Exactly. Nobody gets fired for doing what the herd does.
So what does this all mean? The paradox here is that safety and invisibility are the exact same thing, just wearing different coats.
I love that way of putting it.
The herd is not protecting you. It is actively hiding you from the very clients who are desperately searching for a genuine, compelling reason to choose someone.
Absolutely.
When you follow best practices to the letter, you are guaranteeing that you will never be the obvious choice. You just relegate yourself to being one of a dozen interchangeable options.
So we step back and look at the cage in its entirety. You are burning yourself out, competing in a finite game that actually never ends.
Right.
You are destroying your confidence by comparing your honest reality to unencumbered hucksters playing with fake numbers.
Yep.
And you are conforming to corporate best practices that render you invisible and force you to compete on price.
It's a bleak picture. I mean, it really is. But the title of our show implies we don't just admire the problem, right? We look for the insight. We need the escape plan.
We do need an escape plan.
And the most counterintuitive part of Arnold's philosophy is how you actually get out of this trap.
Because you do not escape the cage by trying harder.
You don't just, optimize your current strategy.
Yeah. Escaping does not mean competing more aggressively or comparing yourself more intelligently or, executing best practices with more polish.
That makes sense.
Doing that is just rearranging the furniture inside the same jail cell. You are still trapped in the same rigged game.
So how do you get out?
The only way you genuinely escape is by refusing to play a game that was designed to commoditize you in the first place.
You just have to step off the board entirely.
Exactly.
Stop worrying about a scorecard that your client isn't qualified to read anyway. Stop copying scripts that guarantee you blend into the wallpaper.
Yes.
So if we strip away the competition, the comparison, and the conformity, what is actually left to build a business on?
Well, the ultimate solution championed by the brand within requires a complete paradigm shift.
Okay.
The professionals who win consistently, the ones who command premium fees without groveling, who maintain their integrity, and who genuinely enjoy their careers, they focus on building the one single asset that no competitor can ever copy.
Which
They build themselves.
Build themselves. But what does building yourself, or building character, actually mean in a concrete business sense?
Sure, it can sound a bit abstract.
Yeah, it sounds like a motivational poster.
How does a character-driven professional operate differently than a best practice professional? It comes down to radical authenticity in the moment of truth. Let's say you are at a listing presentation or a major pitch.
Okay.
Best practice dictates that your sole objective is to close the deal today. You gloss over the potential pitfalls, you flatter the client's terrible ideas, and you push the contract across the table.
Right, because the finite game says closing is the only metric of success.
Exactly. But a character-driven professional is playing the infinite game. Their objective isn't the immediate transaction, it is establishing unshakable trust.
Oh, wow.
So character might look like sitting down with a prospective client, reviewing their situation, and telling them, actually, based on your long-term goals, I don't think you should sell right now.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The market isn't right for your specific needs, and moving forward would be a mistake.
You actively talk them out of the deal.
You walk away from the commission.
Yeah.
Because character has no ceiling and character has no twin.
That is powerful.
The huckster will never tell a client not to sell. The best practice clone doesn't have a script for walking away from revenue.
No, they definitely don't.
When you operate with that level of integrity, you aren't competing with anyone anymore. You aren't comparing. You aren't conforming.
You are simply being chosen.
Exactly.
You shift from forcefully pushing your services onto a skeptical market to magnetically pulling the right clients toward you.
Because you've proven yourself.
Right. Because when you demonstrate that kind of raw character, the client stops holding a trust audition. You just passed it.
But it requires immense courage to drop the camouflage.
I can imagine. It's scary.
Very. Best practices give you a shield to hide behind if things go wrong. If you lose the pitch, you can just say, well, I followed the steps.
It's a safety net.
Yes. When you rely entirely on your own character and your unique perspective, you are fully exposed.
Right.
But that exposure is the price of true professional freedom.
It is the only way to genuinely break free from the cage. I mean, that is just incredible.
It changes everything.
It really does.
It is.
I want to leave you, listening right now, with a final thought to carry into your next meeting or your next pitch. Yeah, this is important.
Think about the vision board you have for your career. If character truly has no twin, and if the herd is only hiding you, what does your unique professional identity actually look like when you strip away every single best practice you have ever been taught to hide behind?
That's the real question.
When the corporate camouflage comes off and you can't rely on the standard script, what are you actually bringing to the table?
A profoundly clarifying question.
It really makes you think. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it helps you see the bars of the cage a little more clearly so you can finally step outside of it. Take care, and we will catch you next time.